Dave Mackey from SimplyCoached, here with Gus Heck, who's our CTO, back there waving. Very excited to tell you about what we're doing. So let me jump right into it. SimplyCoached is a personalized executive coaching software platform. What that means is we're helping companies to improve their management development and leadership training. So I think everyone in this room has probably seen what happens when there's an absence of that training and development. So what we're really aiming to do is help companies reduce their turnover, increase their productivity, all the good stuff that comes from having a well-trained management team. And when I talk about management team, I mean from the top all the way to the bottom of the organization. So how do we do this? Well, what we're using is the gold standard in training, leadership, and development, executive coaching. So executive coaching, widely viewed as the best way to learn those skills. Unfortunately, because it tends to be a one-to-one relationship and can be somewhat pricey in some instances, it doesn't scale very well, at least not to the extent that you'd want to have it across an entire organization. So what we've done is we've created a machine learning software platform that does that scales it across the entire organization. It's a SaaS model, so it's cost effective. So let's jump right into the demo here. When a user logs into the system, they're going to see a dashboard. This is the dashboard. Let me talk about the sign-up process really quickly, though, because it's actually important here. When you sign up, you're going to create a profile, and you're going to invite, coworkers, and you're going to assign relationships to them. This is my boss. This is someone who reports to me. This is a coworker. It takes, a couple minutes. Then you're going to take a 36-question questionnaire that creates a personality profile. If you've ever taken Myers-Briggs, it'll feel very familiar to you. That personality profile then forms the basis on which we start to recommend content to you. As you use the system, it adapts and learns more about you, and that content gets more and more specialized and targeted to you and your particular development needs, your strengths, your motivators, things like that. So this is the dashboard you're going to see after anytime you log in. It's going to show you 5 tips, just like this. Now, when I talk about tips, that's a mixture of third-party content, an article from Harvard Business Review, for example, and proprietary tips that we've written, typical best practices in management. The whole idea here, though, is that we're providing coaching to each individual that's specific to that person. And then as the person interacts, as they, for example, search for something that they're looking for more information on, up here in the top right, as they click on an article or don't click on an article, and as they request feedback from their peers using the peer coaching module over here, it gets smarter about them so that each person is getting customized coaching specific to their needs, specific to the people they interact with, giving them advice on how to best manage the people and engage the people that they work with. So the one other thing I would point out here is we've designed this to be very simple and easy for the user. The idea is, grab your morning cup of coffee, sit down for 5 or 10 minutes in front of a computer, and get some coaching that's useful to you today in your interactions with people, and then go about your day. Right? If you have to rely on a 60 or 90-minute video, the uptake is not going to be very strong. This is quick. This is easy. However, having said that, underneath it's actually really sophisticated. There's a whole series of machine learning algorithms underneath here that we're actually getting, seeking patent protection on, which, by the way, shout out to Foley Hoag on that. They've been helping us with that. So there's some really sophisticated stuff happening in the background that customizes it for each individual. In terms of where we're at as a company, this is our beta. Obviously, there's a lot of things we're going to be adding to this in the coming months and years. But we wanted to get this out there and let people start testing it and start giving us feedback. So it's a public beta. If you go to our website, there's a Join Our Beta link right at the top. We'd love to have anyone and everyone join. Invite coworkers, invite friends. The more people we get on it, the better feedback we get. I would point out that at the bottom right here, there's a little button that you can use to provide us feedback. Really, this is going to help us prioritize what we add next, right? We have about a 2.5-page single-space list of features and functionality that we want to add. The question is, what's the first, second, and third thing that we add? So we'd love to have as many people on as want to be on, and we'd love to get feedback from you. So let me open it up to Q&A.
Can you talk about the size of the market? Who's the target customer? Are you targeting individual or corporations that going to buy according to?
Yeah, so we're going to sell to HR for the most part. If individuals want to use it, by all means. But the actual paying market we envision being HR. We're looking to target companies in the 50 and up to maybe 1,000 employee range. Younger companies, growing companies, companies that aren't big enough to have all sorts of systems in place yet. And in many cases, actually tend to have a younger workforce. So we think this will really appeal to millennials, for example, who are very used to getting content on their phone, on their device. So yeah, that's our target audience.
So the question is, what is the basis of your coaching advice?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like
the methodology.
Exactly. Like how can I'm tired right now. You coaching me, okay, you do some physical exercise, for example.
Right.
So my question is like how valuable is the advice that this is going to be provided?
Okay, so the question is two-part, I guess. What is the methodology we're using, and then how valuable is that? There's no single methodology to it. It's not like we, sort of, for example, adopted like the teachings of Peter Drucker and used those. The idea is to figure out what are your strengths and weaknesses and what motivates you, and then provide you content that matches that. And then, as that gets more robust, it means figuring out say you're managing 5 people, those are 5 different individuals with different motivations and different skills and talents and development needs. So if we can give you content that's customized to those people and their needs, then it's going to be really valuable for you, right? Because you come in on a Tuesday morning and know you have a problem with, person X who you're managing, and you're seeing content about that, that's going to be really valuable.
Hi, okay, I like the presentation, SimplyCoached. I could see how you could be a big help in my company. And my question is going to be a little bit about time and price, and also the peer counseling. Now, I understand you sell software, and my question's 2-part. One is, first I'm going to say, like, do you do live, hands-on, peer, face-to-face counseling? And then can you give us a little bit of chit-chat on your prices and contracts? And could I, for example, hire you out as my corporate startup for like a quarter, 3 months, or is it 6 months or a year, or what's some of the deals, and how do I strike at bargains with your prices? Can you chit chat on that? And are you a peer-led company? Are you face-to-face, SimplyCoached?
Okay, so 2 questions there. The first is, are we providing peer-to-peer, essentially human interaction coaching? We don't. In 5 minutes, though, you'll see a company that does. So hold on for that. It's apparently coaching night tonight. So the second question was just around contracts, what we're charging and how that works. It's a per-seat basis. We're thinking about something in the neighborhood of $99 per person, per user for the year. So, very affordable, very scalable. And I think that answers the question.
I think yes, I'm letting out.
Okay, great.
Are you doing any post-testing, and if you are you providing that to the learner and anywhere up the chain?
Sorry, you said post-testing?
Post-testing. Are you tracking any of the learning at the
Right. We're not. One of the important things about this is the confidentiality. Sorry, the question is, are we doing any testing and reporting it up the chain? One of the important things about this is confidentiality. So actually, when you sign up in the sign-up process, the first screen you see is an explanation of how the data gets used. The very short answer there is no one in HR, no manager ever sees it. The only thing that you interact with right now that any other human being would ever see is the peer coaching back and forth, which, by the way, I just pulled up on the screen here. Basically, I can just go request from a coworker. Sorry, I'm dodging back and forth on you. Request from a coworker some feedback on a particular topic. They give me a score. They give me some feedback. That, by the way, goes into the machine learning algorithms, so it refines your content.
Does the learner have access to that?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That both the person requesting and the person providing feedback will see that. It's a 2-sided conversation. No one else ever sees it, and that's the only thing that ever gets seen by anyone. Obviously, we'll have to show HR some overall usage, aggregated numbers, things like that, but it's a totally confidential system.
Content. Where is this content coming from? Is
Yeah.
it injured from my employer, or is it just
So right now, about a quarter of the content is proprietary stuff we've written. The other 3/4 is stuff that's out there on the internet. So one of the big advantages we have, there is a world of content out there for free. The trick is figuring out what you need, what I need, what individuals need, and providing it in an easy to digest way that's actually giving you the content you need. So, Harvard Business Review, up to 4 articles a month for free, Forbes, Fortune, TED Talks, there's a ton of stuff out there.
Is there any thought as to whether or not from an employer standpoint, some work for a pretty big employer and they're pretty very meticulous about what's being shown to their employees regardless of where it's being shown, as long as it's being good.
Yeah.
So is there any thought to whether or not employers would be able to whitelist or blacklist content?
Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah.
The question is, are we worried about what employers would allow people to see? I would be surprised if we ran into that issue because we've really made it a focal point to use reputable sources. The sources are things like Harvard Business Review, Fortune, Fast Company, executive coaches who have blogs that are actively giving advice, TED Talks, Amazon for book recommendations. There's nothing on that list that I would expect to be, blocked by an employer, but I suppose there is a theoretical possibility that there's one or two sources that get filtered out and you'd get to whatever block screen your employer uses. But by and large, I wouldn't expect that to be a problem. And we certainly haven't heard that issue yet. Though again, we're targeting 1,000 and under, so it may be a little while before we get to that size. Can I get one more question, or are we over?
Okay, quick.
Okay, real quick. Sorry.
Just a quick suggestion. I love the product. Have you considered integrating it with something that would be like BetterWorks or for goal seeking, so that here are your goals and here are some articles about how to look for that?
Very short answer. Yes. Okay.